What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode. This episode is about mental health. I wrote a few bullet points and I'm going to go over them with you guys. And here we go. Alright, the first thing I wrote is over 44 million American adults have a mental health condition, which isn't surprising. Second thing I wrote, rate of youth experiencing a mental health condition continues to rise. Now, I believe that's very important. The youth in this particular country is experiencing a rise in mental health, which I believe, it could be for other countries as well. I haven't did that research. I don't want to say things I don't know, but it could be because, first of all, they're on social media and video games and a bunch of stuff. Technology, they're distracted. Technology, when I was a kid, and my parents' generation and before that, all the kids went outside, played manhunt, tag, all that good stuff. And I feel like that it's changed over the years because of technology, video games, laptops, smart devices, phones especially, a bunch of stuff. And they're having a lack of exercise. So there's many different reasons why it would be rising for children. The third point I wrote is those who are insured can seek help, but those who are not, it poses a problem. So pretty much those who have the ability to seek help and therapy and all that stuff, it's easier for them to recover or get in better standing with themselves and their mind and their problems because they have the ability to do so, while others who do not have the ability to do so, it's harder. And it causes more problems, not only for them, but I believe also for society as well. The fourth point I put down is mental health workforce shortage remains. So that pretty much means that there's not enough people doing that career. There's not enough people helping with that situation. Psychiatrists, psychologists, people, things of that nature. There's not enough of them. So if there was more, it could help. It could help more, and more people can be helped with more workers. The fifth thing I put down is the media. Media is very powerful, and I believe it brainwashes us. It's good. There's pros and cons. It's good because sometimes we could be informed what's going on, but sometimes it's too negative. There's a lot of negative content instead of positive content, which is very important. That's people's opinions. My opinion is media can be one-sided, or it could be used to manipulate the masses in a sense, and but it's not always like that. There's pros and cons, but it is this is an interesting fact, is that there's a handful of companies that owns all of the radio stations and all of the television networks, so it's easy to manipulate. Whatever you want to take from that, take from it. The internet and social media is an information overload. So what I mean by that is nowadays we're getting so much more information intake that it's overloading our brains. We have internet, social media, all this stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all this, and it's interrupting our brain waves in a sense, because we're getting all this information, and sometimes it's too much for our brains to handle. It's an overload. So it can, that causes mental problems, and along with everything else, everything's a percentage, and I believe that is a percentage of what causes mental health is is the internet and social media. And like I said before, there's pros and cons to all of this. I'm just saying my opinion. I'm stating my opinion, and yeah, so let's continue. So social media is actually, I came up with this. I'm pretty sure people have said it before, but I put down social media is actually anti-social media. So what I mean by that is social media is supposed to get us together, but I think, in my opinion, it actually makes us more antisocial because we're not, humans need to contact, to communicate through person to person. It's the best way of communication, person to person. Sure, there's phones, and social media and all that, but the best way to communicate with another individual is person to person. And I believe that strongly, person to person, because person to person you can see someone's emotions, their intent, their energy. You can feel their energy, a bunch of different things, and get a true feeling of who that person really is. Another thing I put down is people compare their lives on social media. So when you're on social media, you compare your lives to others. You see everyone posting things great about their life, and you're like, oh, why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? And vice versa. I believe that creates a problem because we shouldn't be competing with one another. We should be helping one another. One thing about me is I've never been jealous about anyone. I actually had a conversation about this with a buddy of mine, and we were talking about how we never been jealous of other people's successes. And me personally, I said that when I see people succeed, it drives me to succeed. It drives me to do better and to better myself, not the opposite way around. People only post the good times, not the bad. So what I mean by that is people on social media and the internet post the good things. They capture the good moments, but they don't capture the bad. Life is not all good. Life is not all bad. It's a combination of both. And when you're posting just good, it creates a problem because it makes your life seem better than it actually is. Or when you're looking at someone else's profile or whatever, it makes them look better than they actually are or their life actually is. It's just posting the positives instead of posting both what life is. Life is positive in the middle of negative. It's a combination of things. So when you're just capturing the positive sides of things, it's not always what your life really is. Okay. What else did I write down here? I wrote down less children are active, which could be a cause of increase in mental health. I stated that earlier. So yeah, so with the social media and the internet, less kids are going outside, playing, interacting one-on-one or with a group of friends, like my childhood or most people's parents' childhood. It's very essential for humans to communicate and interact with one another on a personal level and in person instead of on the internet. Another thing I wrote down is diet. Diet is very important for our health and our mind. Everyone should know that. Diet really is important. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to exercise. I'm trying to do all that stuff. But obviously, I'm not perfect. And no one's perfect. I'm trying to better myself like everyone else. Diet is very important. When I was in California, I lived in California for a year or so, and people over there were a lot more health conscious about what they were eating and stuff, and I never got heavy into that because I enjoy a steak and I enjoy a lot of different foods, but it really does, I believe, make a difference. what your intake is, and also how you treat your body. If you're smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol or doing drugs, obviously it's going to affect your body in a negative way, and it's going to affect your mind in a negative way also. Another thing I put down is exercise is very good for the body and mind and can be used as an outlet. So I think I covered that before. Exercise is obviously very good for the body. It's good for the mind. It can be used as an outlet for your anger, frustrations, whatever, or stuff of that nature. It's good for obviously building your body up, and it makes you healthy. It makes you it makes you last longer. And it's good. And people, I know this might seem shallow, but people, you get one first impression, and when you see people and they look good, that's good. I mean, that's that's human nature. I didn't make it up. Another point I put down is biological factors from past family history can affect mental health. So if let's take schizophrenia or something. I actually talked to a guy recently, and he told me he was schizophrenic. He's actually from, where was he? Canada. He was from Canada, and he said he was schizophrenic. Oh no, England. I'm sorry. He was from England. He said he was schizophrenic, and his mom had a history of schizophrenia. So I guess it passed down to him, and he was telling me he's doing better now. He's taking the proper medication and stuff for that type of condition, which I'm happy for him. And so it's not. Sometimes it could be biological. There's many different factors I stated before. There's percentages. 100%. That could be a very large percentage out of 100%. Another thing I wrote down. Overprescribing is a big problem in the United States. So I'm pretty sure in other countries too. I'm not too sure. I don't want to speak on any other countries, but I know in this country particularly there is a problem with overprescribing patients with medications. Even I went to school. I have an associate's in business administration and then a bachelor's in psychology. And I know particularly in the psychology field, psychologists, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them overprescribe medications to patients. And I don't think that's a good thing. I do believe talking is very beneficial before prescribing and stuff like that. Pharmaceutical companies, or the pharmaceutical industry is $1 billion industry. So yeah, that speaks for itself. The pharmaceuticals, it's a big business, and I do believe it hurts more people than it helps. I do believe a lot of people abuse medication. I do believe a lot, especially young people, if they get injured and they get prescribed pain medication. Some of them get addicted to it, and it's addicting. It could help some people. It could help some people, but I think the majority of it, it's a business, and it's a money-making business. And if it's a money-making business, you don't want it to fail. You want the wheels to keep going. With a business mentality. So you want the wheels to keep going, you want people to keep buying, you want, take from it what you will. Talking is very effective. It is not good to hold things in. I wrote that down. So like stated before, I believe talking is very effective. Before prescribing someone something, I believe talking is a very essential thing when it comes to the recovery of someone's mental state or health, because people have a lot of things that they hold inside. You don't go around your job or people talking about your problems. Everyone has problems. Everyone has something that they're dealing with and a battle that they're dealing with, and a lot of people tend to hold it in, which I believe is not good. And if you are holding things in, you should go talk to someone, because I do believe it does help. I wrote down technology increases and happiness decreases. Now, this is just a speculation. This is my opinion. I do believe with the more and more technology that we get through the years, I do believe people get more distracted and less happy. That's just my observation. That's not a fact or anything. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. But through my experience, I do believe technology is a big distraction, and it distracts us from relationships, and just like I said earlier, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to a lot of things, and technology is good for like GPS. If you need to find a place to go, you have an interview, or you need GPS is good. But technology can be bad for, bullying, like especially with the younger kids. There's a lot of internet bullying and stuff, and that's a negative. Another thing I wrote down, social media releases dopamine in the brain, which causes satisfaction, but it's not real. So what I mean by that is social media, say when you get likes and you get views and comments and all that stuff, that releases dopamine in the brain, and that causes that satisfaction to us. But in my opinion, it's not good, because it's not physical, it's not real, it's not genuine, in my opinion. Another thing I wrote down is faith gets me by a higher power or something greater than myself. So me personally, I believe I have faith. I believe in a higher power. I believe in something greater than myself, and I believe there's energies in the universe, and I think I said this in another episode, but I meant when you really think about it, the universe is so massive, billions and billions of galaxies, and you really have to think, and there's for me personally, I feel like there's something out there. There's something that human beings cannot explain. No matter you want to think, if you want to think you're the most intelligent person in the world, there's something that we cannot explain, something that we don't know, and I believe that there's something that cannot be explained to our intellect. Another thing I wrote down, positive perception of life is important. So how you perceive life. I remember when I was in college, I took a class, it was called Perception, and I really enjoyed the teacher. I forget his name, but it was a great class, one of the best classes I've ever taken, because we would watch a lot of videos, and he wouldn't really be that hard. He wanted us to really learn. I like teachers like that, not just testing on a book or something, really wanting you to learn and to really grasp what he's trying to teach. And I thought that was good. Everybody perceives life in a different way. So not everyone's perception is in sync, or or always on the same level, but you can always learn, which is a good thing from different people's perceptions. And me living in multiple places, I lived in New York, Florida, California, New Jersey. I've gotten many different perceptions and many from many different people, and I learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for that. Another thing I wrote down, frequencies affect the brain, music can affect our moods. So what I mean by that is frequencies such as radio frequencies. When you turn the dial, it goes to another frequency, another channel, another radio station. So frequencies can be used in music. When you're listening to hot, happy, positive music, that's a frequency, and it goes in your brain. It affects your mood. when you're listening to something happy, it makes you happy. When you're listening to something aggressive, it makes you aggressive. Say you're listening to something aggressive, and someone steps on your shoes. You're on a street. You're walking down a street or something. Someone steps on you might be more aggressive than you would if you were just listening to a happy song. Another thing I wrote down was the happiest country in the world is Finland. So I actually did some research, and according to the research I did, the happiest country in the world is Finland. And I don't know why, because I did not get directly into that, but I do believe, like Denmark, because there was a study done about Denmark years ago, and I read about it years ago. I think Denmark at one time was the happiest in the world, but they said it was because they have less expectations. Meaning, in America, we have high expectations. We want a new car, new house, Corvette. Once we get it, we're satisfied for a little bit, but then we're not satisfied anymore. We want the next best thing. We're always working to get the next best thing instead of being happy about what we have. Another bullet point I wrote down is Canada. Canada is the 7th happiest country, and my opinion on this is one of the reasons I believe is because they have free healthcare. They have a better, in my opinion, a better healthcare system where they don't have to worry about paying ridiculous prices for prescriptions and a bunch of other medical benefits. They don't have. That's one less worry they have. Unlike Americans, a lot of people still don't have health care. It's hard for a lot of people, and I believe that's a big factor. I saw an interview with Jim Carrey, and he said, Jim Carrey's Canadian. When he was little, he grew up in Canada. When he was little, and he said his parents never had to pay for a prescription or an appointment or any of that, and while people in this country, some people lose their houses. Some people lose their houses because someone in their family or something gets sick. You can't control that, and I don't believe that's a reason for you to lose your house or for you to lose a lot of what you accumulated. Another point I put down is financial difficulties, which is a big problem for a lot of people around the world, obviously. Not just this country, around the world. But particularly in this country, a lot of people have financial difficulties. There's people living paycheck to paycheck, student loans, medical bills, a bunch of different things. And like I said before, it's a percentage. Out of 100%, there's a lot of percentages of what causes mental health issues. There's a lot of different percentages. It's a lot of things. Financial, health, you name it. Okay. And last but not least, I wasn't going to include this, but I put Jesus was poor, but he helped people. Now, for those of you who are not religious, that's fine. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. If Jesus was real, whether you believe it or not, he was poor and he helped people, which I think we should be doing that today. We're forgetting the past. I liked history when I was in high school or college or any education. I really liked history because history tends to repeat itself, and we forget as humans about history and how it repeats itself. It goes in a 360, and we should really take heed, not just religious wise, but take heed of what has happened in the past and how we can correct it, how we can help one another, how we can fix the system, fix things, fix each other, fix ourselves first and foremost, but fix each other as well. While we can fix ourselves and we can fix each other as well. We don't all have to be number one. We don't all have to. I mean, it's great to have money. It's good. Money is essential. We need food. We need shelter, but we can also help people along the way. It's kind of like on a plane. On the plane, if you've ever been on a plane, they instruct you if it crashes in the water or whatnot, secure your own vest before you even secure your own child's. If you have a child or a loved one, you secure your own vest, secure yourself, then you can help people. Which is it took me a long time to realize that, and I'm still learning. I'm still young. I'm 27. I'm still learning. But every day I wake up, I try to be a better person, and I try to learn and keep an open mind and open my eyes to what's really going on in the world, which is very important. I believe more people should start opening their minds and opening up their eyes to what's really going on in the world. And I believe it'll be better for them, more beneficial. It'll help not only yourself or themselves, it'll help other people. Because when you're positive and you project positive energy, it projects on other people, and it's like a domino effect. With negative energy, when you project negative energy, it creates a negative domino effect, and I don't want any of that. So, and I'm pretty sure everyone else out there doesn't want that. So my message is just to be positive, and you're not alone. There's many people going through problems. Everyone has problems. Everyone has their own battles they're going through, and we all have to be aware of that. We're all trying to help ourselves, but sometimes you have to realize too, we don't know what the next man or the next woman has been through. So we have to keep an open mind and just be positive and start helping one another. And that's pretty much all I wrote down. I might make a second part of this. I'm not too sure. Once I do a little bit more research, I did a limited amount of research, but I might do more and come back with another part of this episode. But until then, I'm glad you guys are giving me the opportunity to tell my truth, and I'm saying this from my heart, and I hope people can see that. And I just really want to better myself and also do what I can while I'm on this planet to help others. So thank you very much, and tune in to another episode. Thank you so much.